2. What's going on? Coming to you with another video once again. By now, y'all had checked out part 1, which was my first company that I worked for as a company driver local, which was Coca-Cola. Now we're gonna go into part 2. Part 2, I did my year. Pretty much, I did my year at Coca-Cola from 2016 of October all the way to 2017 of October. It was pretty much a year even. So, I was making a little bit of money. I got the hang of driving trucks, and I wanted to make a little bit more money. I had some buddies that went over to the food service delivery job, and they told me they had a sign-on bonus. I believe at the time it was a $7,000. Was it $7,000? No, my mistake. It was a $4,000 sign-on bonus. $4,000 sign-on bonus. You don't get all of it all at once. They broke it up, but I didn't even get a chance to get my last. They broke it up like 1,500. I think it was like 1,500 every quarter or something like that. I think I got maybe one, $1,500, and then it was taxed. So I did get that, and then I got a couple sign-on bonuses for other drivers coming on board, because I had got a lot of guys from Coca-Cola to come over to Performance Food Group. And I think I got about 3 drivers. And I think I got about one of those bonuses, because none of them lasted. None of them lasted 90 days. But so we did my year at Coca-Cola, and I went over to my first food delivery service local company job, Performance Food Group. Now Performance Food Group was a very interesting job. And what I mean by interesting, it was very a tough job. That was a tough job. Now, I'm gonna go in detail with that job. Once again, when I started out doing Performance Food, I'm gonna just say PFG. There was no thought of owner-operator still at this time. So, I started Performance PFG at 2017 October. I think it was, because I think I left Coca-Cola somewhere at the beginning and middle, and I think I started PFG like that Monday after. So yeah, October of 2017 we went to PFG, and I got trained maybe about a month. They trained me, and then they pretty much cut me loose and let me do my thing. Now with PFG, they gave me something similar like Coca-Cola. They gave me a route in the city once again, and we're speaking on Richmond, Virginia, and I'm gonna throw that out here. Every PFG, there's PFGs everywhere. Every company, PFG company, is different in different states or whatnot. But we're gonna speak on Richmond, Virginia, and how they operate. So PFG, this is what it was. When I was at PFG, man, y'all know it, y'all see it. They're just like US Foods, McLean, Cisco. They all the same things. Food delivery. 28-foot trailers, sometimes 36-foot trailers. And then sometimes, once again, you get the 48s depending on what you're doing. Once again, my job was something similar like Coca-Cola. It was I was the guy going to this time we was going to places like restaurants and mom and pop restaurants and stuff like that, delivering food. And then they had a big account. The big accounts was like the PFG had IHOPs and Arby's, and there's another one, IHOP, Arby's, and Popeyes. Those are the three big companies they had, accounts they had, and we did those places. But other than that, we did like mom and pop's places and some like gas stations that had foods and stuff like that. So pretty much gonna dive into what PFG consists of. We pretty much they had inside the trailers they had, and these are reefer units. They had a freezer part which was on the nose, and then they had like a what do you call it? I can't think of the name. The little thing that separates the freezer from the cool refrigerator. Y'all know what I'm talking about, but I can't think of it right now. But anyways, so they had a freezer part in the nose, and then they had the little barrier, and then they had the refrigerated stuff on one side, and then they had the dry side on the other side. Okay, and these that's how they did it, and you can actually get access to the freezer side from the outside. They also have side doors. So if you know a 28-foot box trailer or a 36, you can get to the freezer side from the outside, because there's a door, and when you open the door, they have steps. So that's how we access the freezer side with the little barrier, and then of course from the refrigerator and the dry side, you just get it from the back of the trailer. So what we had to do was, and they also gave us little scanners and stuff, and they was all numbered, all the numbers was numbered by the stops, 1, 2, 3, stop 1, stop 2, so on, so on, so on. So that's how we did it, and it would tell us what was going on each a store or restaurant, whether it was how many dry they got, how many refrigerated they got, how many freezer they got. Sometimes they didn't get freezer, sometimes they didn't get refrigerated, sometimes they didn't get dry, sometimes they got all three. It just depends on the each account or each restaurant or mom and pop place. But pretty much all we had at this company, sometimes we would get a pallet jack, but it was pallet jack stuff. You still had to break it down. So what was in these trailers they was all pretty much, if I'm mistaken, they was all shrink wrap. You had to, cut the shrink wrap, and then you had to break down each single pallet. The goal was to touch each product once. You didn't want to touch it more than once, because then you'd be doubling back. But you had to break down each pallet, and sometimes you would have stop 1 all the way on at the bottom, and you had to break it down, put it stuff to the side. Sometimes you had stuff all the way to the back. Sometimes I had to put some of that stuff on the ground, on the street, and pretty much we had a ramp that went all the way down to the ground, and all we had was a dolly, a regular dolly with 2 wheels on it. We had to put the product on the dolly and roll down the ramp. Some of that stuff was heavy. Sometimes stuff fell off the back of the truck, and you had to mark it like it was damaged. Sometimes you had damaged stuff. Sometimes you had crushed stuff. And man, we had to take this stuff down a ramp. And we had beef and stuff like that, chicken and stuff. That stuff is heavy, man. And we had to take those things down the ramp and take them to the stores. There was times also what PFG did, and I'm sure most of the US Foods and Cisco's do it too, and the McLean's. We had what they call was a drop key. A drop key was where they gave us keys to these restaurants and places like that, where we can go in there and open the doors, without anybody being there. Sometimes we had to, starting times, majority of my starting times was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And I'll be home. Like I said, this was an all-day thing. I didn't usually get off till around like 5, sometimes 6, depending on the situation. And then most of the times, I was getting like 800 cases plus a day. 800 cases plus a day is a lot. And you had to break down all these, these pallets, It was a lot. That was a very, very tough job. Especially in the summertime. There was times where they would give us, they would hire a third party to give us some help over the summertime. But then there was times where we had like 1,000 cases and we had no help. It was just a very, very hard job and a very stressful job. And, I was only there till about, I started in October, so November, December, January, February, and I left in March. So I pretty much stayed there for pretty much about 4 or 5 months. So pretty much what happened with PFG was there was a situation towards the end of my 4 months, and this wasn't even planned. It was a situation where something happened, and they tried to fire me. And those y'all know, you don't ever want to get fired by any company, whether it's trucking or not. And it was situations where they tried to like tell me, hey, you can't work today until we get this figured out. And then it was a situation where they called me, was like, hey, you got to come in and talk to the manager and then the vice president, and we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do. I didn't even let it get to that point. I just went ahead. At that point, I was like, man, I'm getting tired of this, man. It was just something that came in my mind. I was getting tired of the whole going to different trucking companies and waiting a whole year just to get vacation and stuff of that matter, and just dealing with the whole management thing and people telling you what to do and stuff like that. Something clicked in my head, and I started, listening to like other drivers. Other drivers was coming from the owner operator world, and it was coming back local, and it was telling me how they had their own truck and stuff like that. I was like, man, I want to do something like that, man. I'm just tired of all this, man. So I end up like quitting PFG, and this is gonna lead into part 3 of the story of the episode. But I end up leaving PFG, staying there 4 or 5 months, and this is gonna lead to part 3 of the segment. And I say all this to say this, man. This is where things started to change with me. I started realizing some things. I wanted to do some things different, and I just got tired of pretty much people telling me what to do and when to go home and stuff like that matter. And I started doing research. This is when I started to be in the truck with PFG, and I actually was on like from point A to my stops and stuff like that. I would start looking at YouTube videos. This is when I started getting into YouTube and looking at trucking videos. I didn't know they had videos on YouTube about trucking. And I started doing my research about owner operator and stuff like that. And come to find out, into this owner operator thing, I had to get experience, OTR experience. My local experience didn't count. So I already had about a year and 5 months in with truck driving of local, but it was an owner operator world. That experience didn't count. So I had to figure a way to get OTR experience. And I'm gonna go ahead and end it right there, and we're gonna go, the next video will be about part 3 of my segment. And make sure y'all hit the like button, share the video, also subscribe. I know a lot of you guys are interested into the local thing. I did it, company driver. Like I said, I did the food service delivery work. And I hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. I'll catch y'all in the next video.